Thank you. Just like a necklace, maybe.
Okay. Awesome. Shall we get started, Misha?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to check sound?
Yes.
Thanks. Oh, hey, Magnus. Cool. Class now. Yeah, that sounds good? All right, you guys let me know. You ready? Okay. All right, guys. Welcome to a presentation and workshop about OpenStreetMap. Before we get started, I want to know how many people here have used OpenStreetMap before? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a lot. Okay. All right. I have Misha. Misha, how have you used OpenStreetMap? How have you used OpenStreetMap?
Okay. It's like for my research work and for some projects for notes here, engineering school, with Igor and Nicola, we're working together on a classification project. If someone wants to know more, I will tell, but after the workshop.
Right, of course. Actually, this is good because we'll get to that project at the very end. So it's good that you guys all have at least a foundational understanding of what OpenStreetMap is. And so today we're going to actually talk a little bit more about how it works. And also, I mean, we've only got so many computers. So we'll be forming groups so that you guys can practice and see how it's done online and do it yourself. Okay? So if at any point anyone needs to get up and leave, I think the bathrooms are at the end of the hallway. There's water up here, so please feel free to move around. You don't have to stay in your seats. They're not concrete. You guys can move and you can flow like water. Also, if you have any questions in the middle of the presentation, feel free to ask, throw your hand up and then we can have a discussion about, whatever doubts you're having. So, also tell me if I'm speaking too fast, and I'll slow down. Okay, so let's get started with OpenStreetMap. Actually, this presentation is made in Prezi. The background image is from OpenStreetMap contributors. We'll talk about them, obviously, because we're going to all eventually in this class become OpenStreetMap contributors. Let's move on. So just to give you guys an idea of why am I here, what am I doing in Rivne? I'm a Fulbright Scholar, which is part of the State Department in the United States. The State Department chooses scholars, people who have specialties to go work in other countries. And we do a lot of things like this, trainings, courses. I don't see any of my students here, other than Igor was in a course that I did on GIS, Geographic Information Systems. But my job really is to attend events, to interact with people from Rivne, people from everywhere, and share a little bit of my knowledge. So that's a little bit about me. I'm from New York, so if anybody has any questions about New York, you know who to talk to. Okay, so OpenStreetMap is really a concept, an ideology that's come about in the past, I'd say almost 30 years, about moving from a technological society that's, bureaucratic and comes straight from governments and institutions to more participatory, me being able to get data and access data, you guys being able to give and access data. This idea of going from like the top of the pyramids where the governments are down to the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, all of us, the public. We can have access, we can give data, we can edit data because we have local knowledge. And so when I say source equals knowledge, what I mean is that all of us have understandings of our world. And so OpenStreetMap is based on that, based on users, people like you and me and you and you and you and you and you and you, the people like you who know about Rivne, for example, or me, I know about Watertown, New York. I mean, that's knowledge that I have because I lived there. So we're going to do an activity. Let's see here. I think we're going to work in 4 groups. Now let's see here, what is the best way to divide us up? Okay, I'm gonna point to everybody and you're gonna count from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? We'll start with Misha. 1. Dimitro, 2. 2. 2. 3. 4. Okay, so remember your number, right? And then once you guys have your numbers, we'll divide into groups. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Ola? Maybe not. Okay, you guys are done. All right, 1. Perfect. 2. 3. 4. 1. 2. 2. Okay. 3. 4. 1. 2. 3. And 4. Okay, so all of the 1s, I want you to meet in the back with Misha. So all 1s go to Misha. Odin, tam. Odin, tam. All right. All the 2s, raise your hand. Okay, all the 2s are going to meet with Helena. Okay, 2s go meet with Helena. Igor, what were you? 3? 4? You maybe oh, I didn't give you. Okay, you can be 3. All the 3s up here with Igor. 3 goes with Igor. And where's all the 4s? Oh, there you guys go. Why don't you guys meet in the center with Ole? Olia. Olia? Kolya. With Kolya. All right. Here you go. It's more comfy. Okay. So, all right. So every group is going to get a package. Every package has an orthophoto, orthophoto image, and a package which has on the first page a diagram on the first page, and then the second page is a key. And right now I'm going to explain how the key works and how you guys are going to do this, because it's going to be a little bit long of an activity, but you guys should all get the experience. Okay. So, so you guys all at this point will have an empty orthophoto. The picture has nothing on it other than the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those numbers correspond with your group. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you guys can come up with a name for your group if you want. So each group is going to be in charge of a row. So group 1, you're in charge of this section. Okay, group 1, this section. 2, you guys are in charge of the second section. 3, you guys are in the third. And 4, you guys are in the last. And what you need to do is, you're going to identify all of the natural features. Natural features, water, trees, rivers, you know, anything that's considered natural. I mean, we are the University of Environmental Water Engineering, so natural resource. So if you guys can see, I've kind of started doing some of that delineation. I've located all of the natural areas, not all of them, there's still some more in there. And I started outlining them in polygons. The river is also outlined in it's hard to see, but the river also has a line through it. So you guys are going to go through your section and find every tree, find every river, every stream, every lake, anything that you can find, you're going to mark it on here. Okay? So that's step one. Oh, here, I have it in my hand. So once you've identified your polygons and your rivers and you've drawn them, step two is looking at our key. So I have, for instance, this big section of forest. So if I go to my key, which is also up there, I have to decide whether it is a dry site or whether it is a moist site or humid. That means, is it water, is it humid, you know? And in this case, it's a dry site because there's no rivers, at least that we can see of from the ortho photo. So I go down to, I keep at dry site. So that's on the right side. And then you pretty much, it's like a tree. You keep going down the tree until you find the last thing that it fits. So if I go to dry site, it's an area covered by vegetation, stock. Is it trees and woodland? Stock. Is it a single tree? Nit. Is it a single row? Nit. Is it other woods? Da. What would it be then? I have natural woods or artificial woods. Is it natural? Da. And then it asks if it's deciduous, which just means does it have leaves, like broad leaves, or is it coniferous, which is the pine. And it looks to me like it has both. So then the option would be mixed woodlands, and it's got a value of 16. So then you look in the packet. And in the packets, I go all the way back to 16. So 16, and I find where's mixed woodlands, right? So it's got its key, the number 16, and it's mixed woodlands, and so that's my information, right? So 16 is woodlands, and that's my key. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
We need to do this for every farm feature.
For every natural feature. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So now that we've identified mixed wood, our job is, you guys also have a packet of what I'm calling tags. This is a tag. So on my image, on my tag, I write down what I had for mixed wood, which was natural equals wood, leaf type equals mixed. Natural equals wood and leaf type equals mixed, which is what mixed woodlands was. So again, I write down on my tag what is written there. That's our tag. You guys got that, right? You write down on your sheet, on your tag what the tag is. Again, you guys got it. Tag. And then once you're done with that, you can throw it on your image, and you've officially created a tag for that polygon, okay? So you can do it. We're going to do it just for time purposes. Remember, group 1, you guys are the first section, so you only have to do it for the first section. You don't have to do it for the whole image. Again, you guys 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Does anybody have any questions before we start? No? Okay. Right. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too. We're going to start. I'm going to rotate around, and I'll answer any questions you guys might have. So if it's a little rough at the beginning, don't worry. We'll work it out, and then eventually you guys will figure it out. Okay. So group 1, or here, group. You guys will get started. Here you go. Group 3. You guys can all do it. There's some extra markers here, so if you guys wanted to do more. Okay.
Для тих, хто не зрозумів, що ми суть. Наша карта поділена на рядки. В кожному рядку є виділені полігони. Ви для кожного виділеного полігона по цьому дерево, яке є в вашому листочках, визначаєте, до якого типу класу воно належить. І відповідно до цього класу клеїте йому текст, якого воно належить. Ну так все зробимо. Проходите по всіх полігонах ваші тексти.
There we go. Here you go, group 4. You're welcome, and group 3.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Добрий день.
What do we do with the samples here? Has it any special tag or we just
For the houses?
Yes.
No, we're not going to consider houses. But if a house, for instance, has like a tree, you are going to identify the tree.
Like
Yeah, like, so, yeah, you guys are too right. So you've got, obviously, this section, oh, not even that one, just all of this. And then, obviously, we got a lot of agriculture, but the urban area does have trees. It is considered natural. So, and even on here, we've got, if we go down to dry, we had the trees, and then a single tree that's even within our classification. So, yeah, so you, because then it goes to 14, a single tree, and your tag would be natural equals tree. You're welcome. Yes.
River or only our section?
Just to the river that's in your section. Yes.
You said about single trees, but we do not have to outline every single tree.
If you want, you can just put a dot. Like a point. So I know there's a lot of them. Mhm. Yeah.
If we have a polygon with two zones.
In different zones?
Yeah, we can just make a line for whole polygon or just for our line.
You can do it.
Because it's like.
It is a continuous, right.
Yeah, okay.
You can do the full one.
Okay.
That's fine. Mhm.
Otherwise,
Yeah, for polygons you can do the full one, but for the river, only do your section.
okay.
Okay? So anything that's a line feature, just for your section. How you guys doing?
Well, we are thinking about whether the should be pointed that this land is like agricultural land and this is like
Yeah, because it is. I mean, it's got crops, and crops are natural. But but if you find it, I don't think it's on there. But what's that? No. Yeah, because crops are in OpenStreetMap, a lot of things are considered either natural or man-made or man-built. So I think agriculture, yeah, and these are just natural. So that's why it wouldn't show up on there. Mhm.
жаль, що серед це занят.
Three lines.
How's it going? Good? Good.
Але що ми беремо на
Ні. Це скажи мені же.
I think you got a tag on you.
Huh?
Are you guys done? Yeah. Okay. No? Present it? No, we're going to, I'm just going to put them all on the board, and then later on, we're going to put it in OpenStreetMap.
Okay.
Yeah, so no presentations for now.
Okay.
Are you guys all done?
I think we should like make more polygons.
Oh, okay.
Because we really don't know what is this used for.
Right.
Like,
It looks like agriculture to me, but it could be pastizal, like a grassland.
We don't know what.
You could also just leave it as like a question mark, because it would mean you have to go and validate it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Good.
I don't know.
I think so. It looks good. Yeah.
Should we mark every square or only one square? For example, this meetup,
Middle,
we need to mark this and this square, so only this.
No, I think as long as you know there's two, one is enough. Because then, yeah, later you'll put in two, but for now, that's good. Are you guys done? You guys done? Good job. Way to go, team 3. Did you guys come up with a name? Good job, Mitro. What's your guys' name?
Ivan.
Oh, you're Ivan. Is that your team name? That is your name. Team Smile? I just want to say team, wait, no, you're team number 1. Okay. You don't, team number 3, Ivan. Yay, you guys are all finishing at the same time. Perfect. Good job, team 4. Guys, this is perfect. Yeah, thank you. Well done. Молодец. Okay. Team 2. We're good. Okay. Good job, everybody. Молодец. Now, between the 4 teams, you guys were able to find all the natural areas inside this orthophoto. So, I'll give you a little hint. Well, the work you just did, we're going to come back to it in a little bit later, and we're going to put it in OpenStreetMap. But for now, we're just going to leave it up there because it looks pretty, and it was well done. So good job, guys. Applause. Good job. So, what I was telling you guys about before, this whole idea of OpenStreetMap is something that comes from the ideology that people, all of you guys here, have knowledge that's valuable, which is why, oh no, we lost a tag, which is why the knowledge that you guys have from interpreting an image, it looks like this area. The knowledge that you guys all have, you just use to pretty much classify all the natural features in an image between all of you, which is probably about 20 people. So later, we're going to put this all together and see how it looks in OpenStreetMap. All right, So the kind of information you guys just gave is part of this whole concept of open data. Open data basically just means access to data, to information. It could be shape files, it could be images. It's pretty much something that's accessible. It's transparent in the fact that you know how it's collected, you know how it's distributed, it's clear, and it's free, typically free. So, and the big part that you guys just did, if you see at the top of the image, let's see if I can, right up here, participation. That's a huge part of open data, and that's a huge part of OpenStreetMap. Okay. So now, I think I'm gonna just hang out right here, and now I'm gonna explain a little bit about OpenStreetMap. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. But pretty much, all you need to know is that OpenStreetMap maps anything that can be mapped. And if you look at the image, I had some questions like, do we map houses? Do we map streets? What about the agriculture? Those things obviously can be mapped. I mean, we can identify them on an image, which means they can be mapped. But obviously we were focusing on natural things to kind of narrow down our search. But pretty much OpenStreetMap isn't just natural vegetation or natural features. It's also homes, streets. It's pretty much a giant collection of data of the entire world. So imagine the images you guys just did was from I want to say maybe a kilometer. Like the whole area is very small. I mean, it's Horodok. It's the area of Horodok, basically. But OpenStreetMap does what you guys just did for the entire globe. So imagine, I mean, it took us 40 minutes to do that activity, and then they have that data that you guys have, plus more for the entire globe. So it really is quite an extraordinary piece of technology. The way things are organized in, I have a question. So who here knows what vector data is? Vector data. Yeah, so it's vector data.
It's like hard to explain, like shape of
Right, exactly. It's the shape of something. And typically there's 3 different shapes that are used for vector data. Who knows what they are? And polygons, yes, areas. So points, lines, and areas. And those are the same things that OpenStreetMap captures. So we're gonna, let's see if I can successfully get out of this and open up OpenStreetMap. Let's see here without breaking the technology. All right. You're okay, Dimitri, don't worry. So this essentially is the interface of OpenStreetMap. It's considered, one of the softwares that you can use for geographic information systems. Has anybody here used other software for geographic information systems? What have you used?
I actually use many of them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Uh-huh.
But I'm using GDAL, it's like library.
Yeah. GDAL. Uh-huh. Right.
Very many other things. GeoJSON tools.
GeoJSON. Uh-huh.
Shapefile tools, VKT tools, PostGIS, Postgres, and other stuff.
Right. Yeah. So these are a lot of, especially online, type of software. Has anyone used QGIS, Quantum GIS? How about ArcGIS? Esri products.
I use QGIS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually right here I have QGIS. This is at least Igor and Dimitro should be familiar with this because we used Quantum GIS in a course this fall. But we're moving ahead. The whole point of that is that pretty much we have a space that's mapped. I want to show you guys pretty much here we are in the region that you guys just did. We've got a base map that's pretty much just made out of vector data. We've got the river that passes through. We've got here the forested areas that you guys found. But if you notice, especially in the population center of Horodok, there's no houses, there's no trees. And I know you guys had a lot of trees in your section, single trees. So you can tell like this data isn't actually completely up to date when it comes to having natural features. So the way these things work, let's go jump down to Rivne. So you can see, I'm trying to, there's something I'm going to walk through with you guys, but it's something that you can do on your own. Okay. And I think it's the easier way to, oh, here it is. Nope. No, how that help. I figured out how to do this list yesterday. Maybe it's Alt help. No, you're fine. Control. Nope, it's three. Map key. Where is it? That's weird. It's not working for me. How about this? Maybe this is it. I'm trying to get to something. It's a walkthrough. Maybe I wrote it down. Can't remember the exact code. H. That should work with H. There we go. I think it's not letting me do it now. Okay, well. Okay, well, I can't get the walkthrough to open up for whatever reason, but I'm going to show you guys just a general way that this works. So we're going to open up here it says ID. It's a type of way that you can go into the map, which we originally just saw was just a general map. And it's just for visualizing what's there. But what this actually is the editable version of OpenStreetMaps, which editable just means you can add things, you can create features, or you can edit them. Maybe this works now that it's in edit mode. No. Oh, here we go. I got it. Whew, guys, that was rough. Okay, so I'm going to walk through the basic features. We're going to go straight to points. So when you use a GIS, we're talking about vector data just recently, you can use points, lines, or polygons. So when you are doing it, you can either create or edit. So let's imagine that we want to create a point. So up here in the area that says point, that's the way you add a new feature. So if this building, for instance, we want to create this building, all you got to do is click it. But once it's clicked, it needs attributes. It needs information about what that is. I obviously don't really know what that is. I've never been here before, but it's telling me that it's a cafe or a coffee shop. So if you can type in the search area, you'll have cafe that shows up. And then once you get to that, you're able to add new features, add new attributes to those features. So for here, you can add the name of something. This is like for a building. So let's say, for instance, the name is, what's your guys' favorite coffee shop in Rivne? Fika. Fika. So I just gave the coffee shop a name of Fika. And if we go down to the bottom of this, you can see I have a new tag with the name Fika. The tags are these little pink slips that you guys were filling out. That's exactly how OpenStreetMap collects information. So it's, this is obviously a natural human-built structure. So its value is an amenity rather than natural like what you guys were doing. So pretty much you can add whether there's smoking or not, if there's internet, you pretty much go through and you add as much information as you have for your point. And once you're done, you simply just check on it. And once it's completed, you can go back and click on it and see the information. In case maybe you wrote something wrong, you can go back in, you can edit it, and it's done. Perfect. So now we're going to move on to the next one, lines. Lines are pretty much like you did for the rivers. So for here, for instance, we've got a road that's not identified on the map. You start where it starts, and then you click to a point that's already created, because what happens with lines is it creates a network. So how many people here have used the GPS on their phone? Hopefully, yeah, mainly, mostly everybody, right? Who hasn't? So this is, for instance, something that gives you networks of roads so that you can figure out how to get from point A to point B. And it's that simple. But we finish by clicking on the same point, and same thing. What's the feature? It's a road. It's a residential road. What's the name? How about Saborna? We'll say it's Saborna. Again, and let's see here. If we say it has a speed limit of, how about 50 kilometers per hour? We scroll down, and now we see that the new tags for this feature have been created. It's a highway residential, and the max speed is 50, and the name equals Saborna. So all of those tags have the same pretty much equation, the one that you guys were doing for your own tags. It's got the key, and it's got what the value of that is. And that's how information is stored, basically. Super simple. And now jumping over to areas, you click on the areas button, and we'll say I'm creating one for this park. Keep going, you keep building your park. Again, playground. And what this is showing us, if you have a feature that maybe you don't have a key for, the very least you can write something about it. It's just free text. So I can say, like, playground with Ferris wheel. I mean, you can write whatever. Like, for instance, Park Shevchenko has a lot of fairgrounds, not fairground, it's got a playgrounds and stuff for kids. I mean, you can write pretty much anything you want in a description. Perfect. So that's pretty much how you create something. And now what you guys are all going to do is, in your 4 groups, we're going to have you guys go back to maybe around a computer. So you guys are already at a computer. You guys may be around Misha's computer. Group 3, maybe here? Is that looking? Yeah, I mean, just choose a computer, okay? Because the next thing we're going to do is do exactly what you saw me do. You're going to create new features for all of these. And then later we're going to talk about how you edit things that already exist. So everyone head to a computer. So I'll hand you guys back out your There you go, hon.
Просто, да, треба залогінити. На OSM треба залогінити пароль.
So up here, oh, you guys already.
No, well, we have to log in now.
Oh yeah. Right. Right. Okay, what you guys will need to do once you're at your computer is log in under somebody's name. Once you're logged in under somebody's name, that person who's making those changes officially becomes a contributor. Like OpenStreetMap is itself an interface, but the people who add the data, create the data, edit the data, those are contributors, which is what you guys are going to be. You guys are 3. Steven's group, and you guys. Perfect. So once, are you signed? I think you have to appear in the, oh, you know how to use, right? Okay. How you guys doing? Oh, you're registering, okay.
Я не сумніваюся, що тут просто окей, бачите, беремо тут виглядає так, а тут це типа, я тут просто виставлю, а тут
How's registration going?
You wszystko,
Are you guys logged in?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna go up here. Uh-huh. And then we're just gonna go get started. But this is a good thing.
We need to
Oh,
find
yeah.
this area.
Right. If you find Rivne, it's just northwest of Rivne.
Там был городок. Я отпустил куда.
Oh, that's massive good. Yeah, so it's just a northwest.
Ще не стоїш? Ого.
Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna, there you go, it's up here. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Perfect, good fun. Oh, great. There you go, now you get started with your, so if you guys have single trees, I mean, obviously really good if you can do points, whereas the forested areas are more, polygon style. What do you guys think?
We speak about
Korlok? Oh.
when they
About, oh yeah, why Google doesn't do it? Because Google wants money. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think they hire people to go in and vectorize everything. Yeah. OpenStreetMap is more community, whereas Google is like, they got the money. Yeah, they just have more money. They have more money to actually pay people to do it. guys doing the trees now? So if you find, for instance, like natural ghost tree, if you can't find it in your search, for instance, it should say, you know, tree. Yeah, if it's not there, you can always add it under tags. You can add it and then write down exactly what you guys have. But it should be there. How's it going, guys?
Maybe it's already marked our.
Right. Mhm.
Ваня, да. Річка. Да, річка. І що далі? Нам треба позначити оцей от кусочок.
You got that section 3, right?
Він тут це болото ще, бачиш? Тут це болото.
You can also, if you want.
Оце вже наш блокер. Оце вже не наш. Так це теж ці зарити.
Mhm.
Скажемо, це теж ось цього. Ваня, оце от треба позначити. Оце.
Yeah, it's not completely correct. I mean, because there's trees, but this isn't forest.
Oh.
So you guys can, if you want, go through and do them individually, and this polygon might just need to be deleted. You can do it with an area. Mhm.
Попалям.
There you go.
Ваня, воно не так.
Окей, ми можемо сказати, що тут є блок, пане Богу. Є ж там блок? Так. А що він там знаходить? Де? Ну, давайте спробуємо цю.
Should be go to go.
Mhm. That's okay. Yeah, I think we're gonna finish in like. Yeah. Okay. Bye. See you.
No middle.
If
Fell, not middle.
Actually, if you want, you can write it in. You don't. It doesn't have to be from the list. MEADOW. And then then you have it. And then once it's ready, I mean, you just click your check. Perfect. Oh man, it's a lot of work. Michelle, oh yeah.
Yeah.
What time should we finish?
You can take all the time you need.
Okay.
If you want.
Until 10 o'clock at night. No, just kidding.
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking maybe another 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
20 minutes?
And at the end, I'm going to talk about different uses for OpenStreetMap. So, would you be able to explain a little bit how you guys use OpenStreetMap for the classification project? Just very briefly, like, just so they see that, like, this
Okay.
data.
In Ukrainian or in
Ukrainian is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Misha. Hi, you guys good? Do you need like 5 more minutes? 2 more minutes? Is it easy to do or hard to do?
It's easy to do, but we don't know some words.
Right. Right.
Too bad roads in countryside, for example.
Right.
By road?
Mhm. Yeah, are you guys using it in Ukrainian? Right. There's a feature that lets you do the language here. I'll be right back. Hmm. So if it only gives you ones in English, you can put, this is the key, and then the value would be like, for instance, if, like, what's one of the things you can't find? Like what's one word that you weren't able to find? Was it
Village Road.
village? Okay, so you would put like the name in Ukrainian, and then write down the village, like selo, no? So that's just the beginning, like, key, and then your equal, and that would be what she would write in Ukrainian. That's if you can't find something. So then you just basically make your own key.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, everybody, we're gonna do maybe 1 more minute, and then we're gonna move on to the next part. Just whatever you're able to do in a minute. You guys good? Y'all ready? Ready, Mitra? Okay, everybody, let's get back together. So, a couple of things that came up. Sometimes there's some key names that it's hard to find, because obviously our tag, like when we use the editable form, it automatically makes a tag. But you can also write in your own tag, because if you go to the section that says tag, and you'll have, you know, tag 1, and if you only have tag 1, well, you can also click that plus button, and then you can write in something new. So for instance, this, the OpenStreetMap, I believe was England, right? United Kingdom was the originator of OpenStreetMap. So the basics of it are, or I guess the programming, everything is in English. But if you can also do it obviously in different languages, as you guys were doing it in Ukrainian. So if there's some word or something that you can't necessarily find, you can create a whole new key and then write it in Ukrainian. And this is the key word. It just says name with a colon, UK, as in Ukrainian. And then after that, for instance, if you made the whole polygon of a town, I was explaining in the back, you could put name, the name in Ukrainian, and then write selo. And then that's why if there's something that's in Ukrainian that doesn't show up in your OpenStreetMap, you can create it, you can write it, and then that creates a whole new tag. Other than that, what were some other things that you guys came up with? Was there anything that was difficult or that you found difficult when you were doing it? Was it easy for everybody? Right? It's very user-friendly. I mean, adding a point, getting it some attributes, adding a line, giving it attributes, and adding a polygon, giving attributes. That's the very basic way to do it. So our next area, I wanted to mention, we did everything for natural features, but there's something called Wiki OpenStreetMap. So if I go, there's a whole wiki section just for OpenStreetMap, which is, you know, this is its logo right up here. One of them is called map features. Map features are what you guys were just creating. And this page, I mean, is so long. Look at this, is just the index of all the different primary features you can have. There's so many. And the ones that we were doing were pretty much, there's one for land. Yeah, land use. You were pretty much doing land use, and there's also one for natural. Here we go. Natural. So those of you guys were just in 2 map features out of all of the different map features that you can use. So if you're ever not sure exactly if you're using OpenStreetMap and what the map features tag should be, this is the place to go. So somebody give me an example. Like, to give me a word, something that you what would map. A feature. Well, give me a name of any feature. Any feature could be road, tree, house. You tell me. Something that you can find in a map. A lake. All right. So I just opened up my find. I wrote in lake. Oh, spelled it wrong. I wrote in lake. And then right down here, it jumps me to 4 different options. So the first one I could do is natural equals water. Another one, natural equals bay, if it's like a kind of like a lake, but specifically related to the ocean, or a body of water. Natural equals cape, and water weight equals fairway. So those are the different ones for the different kinds of lakes that you can find. This is kind of just a standard list, and it's constantly being updated and modified. So what we did at the beginning of the lesson is we used a whole new key, which is separate from this. It was actually, this key was made by a Ukrainian biologist who does, I think, is at the university in Kharkiv, if I'm not mistaken. But what's his name? I think his name's down here. There we go. Oleg Prilutsky. Yeah, and he's an assistant professor at the Kharkiv National University, and he goes out and he collects a lot of features as a biologist and puts it to OpenStreetMap. But what he found is some features which are super generic, like natural equals wood, or what was the other one we found for lake? The first one, like natural equals water, like that's very general. But that's just a primary tag. You can add on to that, as you guys saw. You could have 20 tags, you could have one tag, but the more you have, the more specific, in theory, it should be. And so don't feel like the ones that we use today are kind of different standards, and people are coming up with new tags all the time, trying to come up with some sort of system so that instead of just having like natural equals water, you have different categories like reservoirs, ponds, like those are different kinds of bodies of water. So the next section, I kind of just wanted to show you guys really quickly. After you're done making an edit, let's see, for me, I haven't even done anything yet. Once you're done with your edit, up here, there's a section that should say save. So everything you guys have already done isn't actually saved in OpenStreetMap yet. All you've done is created the features, but they're only on your computer. So once you actually, did you guys hit save already? Did you guys hit save? So once you guys hit save, all of the edits that you make officially become live. They become visible by everybody else in the OpenStreetMap community. You guys do your save already? Yeah. Perfect. So I'm going to refresh my page and let's see some of the edits you guys made. All right, has everyone saved? All right, let me get my mic. So group, let me get my image too. So group one, you guys had where the telephone line was. You guys were here, right? Yeah. Group one, let's see here. Based on the tags you guys have, you can see here in the map key, these are all the different types of features that they have, and you can see there's specific ones for buildings or points data, different ones for areas, for polygons, and then obviously different ones for roads. So down in here, you guys had made trees, right? Did you add them as points? Did you add them as points?
We just came up with the description.
Oh, okay. So yeah, well, let's see here. Here's the wetlands. Okay, so the next section that we're going to talk about, there we go, is related to this part was just to remember to save. Because if you don't save, all your work, maybe hours worth of making polygons is lost. So it's important to save as much as you can. And this last part is just, okay, now that data has been created, it's maybe been edited, the different ways you can use it. GeoFabric I have it here, is a website that uses OpenStreetMap, and it downloads all of the data, the vector data, into files. So if you, this is, I went to Europe. If you go down to Ukraine, you can download shape files, OpenStreetMap files, and I did that yesterday, for instance, and this is a shape file of all of the buildings in Ukraine that have been made on OpenStreetMap. And now I could use that shape file for doing any sort of analysis that I needed. That's one example. This is it takes a long time to render. But up here in the corner, it'll give you a percentage of the different land use. It'll tell you how much is agriculture, how much is urban, how much is natural. But I think the bad thing about it is you don't have fast internet, or if there's some sort of issue with the internet, it doesn't necessarily pop up right away. So this is another website that uses OpenStreetMap data to give you areas, like percentages of different land uses. This one is fun, and if you can see this, here I'm gonna refresh it. You can see I'm on the same area of Horodot. Up here in their wizard, this website lets you query information, lets you query the tags. Query just means select features based on their attributes. So let's see here. Give me one of your tags. How are you guys? Ivan, what was one tag you used? Natural? Natural. So I type in natural in my query, build my query, and run. And now, based on my selection, it shows me in the map all the different areas that have the tag natural. So I can click on this, for instance, and it tells me natural equals wood. Natural equals wood. Over here, I have natural equals wetland. Natural equals wetland. Natural equals scrub. So if you're working in a specific area, you can come to this and actually query your map. Query as in select. And take a look at different filters. And another one is you can use it as a base map. In Quantum GIS, we have something called plugins. They're like a tool that you add to the interface. And as you can see on this map, I've got data, and in the background, I've got OpenStreetMap. And it's pretty much just a new layer that you add into, and you can make your maps look a little bit, you can at least contextualize your data a little bit better with the base map. And I was also going to have Misha explain in Ukrainian a little bit about how he uses OpenStreetMap in one of his projects. Good morning.
Дякую, Олень.
Yes.
Всім привіт. Мене звуть Міша, і я користуюсь OpenStreetMap. Дякую, що якщо серйозно, частина вас мене вже знає, з іншою частиною ми знайомимося в наступному навчальному році, на деяких дисциплінах, по яких буду вести ваші лабораторні роботи. Але зараз не про це. Сьогодні я просто Міша, я просто користуюсь OpenStreetMap. Питання для чого? Ви бачили різні сервіси, які показували Олень, як люди це використовують, зокрема сервіси по агрегації, де можна скачати ці дані. Виявляється, тисячі людей не просто так сидять днями і ночами і вимальовують ці різні фічі. Їх можна використовувати абсолютно по-різному. І серед нас були і є люди, які використовують їх конкретно зараз. Тут в інженеринговій школі разом з компанією РІОС ми працюємо над проектом для класифікації міських територій. Що це значить? Це значить, що ви можете завантажити супутниковий знімок міста, вибраний вами. Я думаю, якщо ви захочете, Микола потім продемонструє вам, як працює цей сервіс, тому що він в цьому проєкті, він вам покаже, він робив це разом з Ігорем Миколаївичем, якого вже, на жаль, немає у вашій команді, Ігор Миколаївич Бялий. Він наш викладач на кафедрі інформаційних систем, і в цьому розбирається найкраще. Так от, ви можете завантажити супутниковий знімок міста, і він визначить для вас по зонах, як воно використовується. І це все завдяки OpenStreetMap. У нас є розроблена нейронна мережа, яка навчена саме за допомогою даних, які присутні в OSM. Ми викачали масиви даних для різних міст, визначили, вірніше, наклали їх на знімок. І за допомогою тих тегів, про які розказувала Елейці, які там є, LandView, замінки, Natural, ці різні штуки, ми порізали це місто на різні сцени, різні квадратики, вірніше міста, порізали на різні квадратики, відповідно до їхнього функціонального призначення, будувалися це в нейронній мережі, і так довго вчилась на суперпотужних серверах, які були нам і ось трошки реклами, які стоять там ззаду за вами. Вона дуже довго вчилась і в кінці видала нам результат, класифікацію місця, яке порізане на полігони і прокласифіковане. І це тільки один із прикладів того, як можна і як OpenStreetMap. Насправді дуже часто при статистичних дослідженнях, при дослідженнях різних природних явищ, при дослідженнях урбаністики, тобто розвитку міської забудови, урбаністики, при дослідженні урбаністики і всяких таких інших розумних речей дуже часто використовується OpenStreetMap. Чому? Вони відкриті, хто завгодно може туди контриб'ютити, може брати ці дані. Вони доступні, не треба вводити спеціальними навичками, нічого не придумувати, просто зайшов на сайт, вибрав зону, яку тобі треба, скачав ці дані. І вони зрозуміли, відкрив будь-яку інформаційну систему, завантажив туди ось так от леєр, і дивишся, бачиш всі дані, які треба, табличка, із значеннями, із тегами. І тому дуже-дуже часто різні науковці, абсолютно різні, від тих же геоінформатиків, які спеціалізуються на цьому, до прикладних математиків, які від цього дуже далекі, вони користуються цим OpenStreetMap для різних досліджень. Тому, якщо раптом, так, знаєте, підказка для вас на майбутнє, тут переважно там перший курс, наскільки розумію, підказка для вас на майбутнє, якщо вам треба бакалаврська курсова якась робота, і ви не знаєте, що зробити, підіть, подивіться, які є відкриті дані, і що ви з ними можете зробити, як проаналізувати. В тому числі і OpenStreetMap. От, власне, така от історія. Дякую за те, що мене послухали. Будь ласка, Елені, якщо хочеш ще щось сказати. Всім дякую. Всі питання потім після воркшопу.
Дякую, Міша. So, as you can see, there's so many different uses of OpenStreetMap. You guys can do so many different things with it. It's open data. As I said at the beginning, it's data that's free, it's transparent, and it's accessible. But just because it's free and it's accessible doesn't mean that you can consider it your own work. I mean, this is, as I mentioned, every time you add a tag, you add a feature, you become a contributor. So you guys officially have become contributors today. And so if somebody else were to use this data, you'd want them to make sure that they acknowledged you guys for the work that you've already done. So OpenStreetMap has something called their license. And as you can see, up there it says OpenStreetMap contributors. So if you were to ever use this on a map, or if you ever to use it in any sort of project that you do, you have to give credit. You have to give credit to the contributors who have made those changes in OpenStreetMap. So that's just something that goes along with using the interface. And the very last thing I wanted to mention, just because something's open and free doesn't necessarily mean it's accurate or high quality data. It means it's more accessible, yes, but it also means you can have hooligans or people who want to do wrong. What I mean by that, and here's an example from the New York Times. I think it was in New York City, somebody went on to OpenStreetMap and changed the name of New York City to something that was really hateful and harmful to people, for Jewish people. So as you can see, OpenStreetMap, I mean, people who have hatred or who have malintentions can go on and make edits to the data. And that obviously gives you false information. And I know Ukraine, I've been watching actually also this series in New York Times about disinformation. I know in Ukraine you guys have kind of this, I don't want to say war, but you have this issue, right, with fake news or disinformation, right, that comes through the media, comes through Facebook. So as people who use technology, we have to be smart about the data that we use. We have to be critical of it, and we have to, you know, be wary of things that you can find. So with that, open data is wonderful. I think it's the future of technology. It's more collaborative, it's more participatory, but it also has its challenges. So we have to kind of work the system in a way that gives us quality data, but we're also being honest about that quality. That's the end of my presentation. Did anybody have any questions, any ideas of how you can use OpenStreetMap? Okay. Thanks, guys. Well, and an applause to you guys. You just became contributors in OpenStreetMap, which is big. So congrats to you guys, and thanks for coming. Hope you guys enjoyed it. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Окей. Всім дуже дякую за те, що ви сьогодні прийшли. Думаю, ми можемо виключити. Дякую. Всім дуже дякую за те, що ви сьогодні прийшли, приділили свій час. Не знаю,